Closing out Season 4 of Baseball Card Stories aligned with the recent news that Collectors Holdings, the parent company of card grader PSA, acquired its largest competitor, SGC. With all the recent chatter over this deal and the soon-to-be changing landscape for card grading going forth, I thought it would be fun to take a look at the highest-selling graded Phillies cards of all time. And while I thought I could put a list together pretty accurately in my head, as it turns out, there were a few surprises in store. To make the list more interesting, I'm working with just 3 rules. First, a player can only appear on the list once, so I took their highest sale. Second, a Phillies player must be featured on the card, so no cards of players just associated with the Phillies, like a Pete Rose rookie or a Steve Carlton rookie. Lastly, the prices are completed sales only, no book value, a meaningless term these days in any case. Before we get to the top 10, a few honorable mentions and some surprises too. In building my list, I researched the cards I expected to be expensive, like the 67 Jim Bunning. As a high number and a Hall of Famer, I figured a PSA 10 would be big money, but the all-time sales record for that card was just a shade higher than $1,600. Small potatoes for this list. Following the theme of high numbers, I was also expecting high-grade 52 Topps high numbers to be up there too. Of the 4 Phillies in the 52 high number series, all detailed back in episode 14, all sold in top grades for under $5,000. No 10s exist for any of the 4, only 8s and 9s. The most expensive of the 4 was a PSA 9 of Carl Drews that sold for $4,920. Begging the question, what would a 10 fetch if one was found? Anyway, here we go. The top 10 highest-selling Phillies baseball cards of all time. Number 10 is a 1966 Topps card number 591, the Rookie Stars card featuring Grant Jackson. This PSA 10 sold back in April of 2022 for $5,251.20. I detailed this card back in episode 21, and it was no surprise to me it was on this list. In a 10, this card is just a pop 2, so expect this one to creep up in pricing in the coming years. Number 9 is a 1949 Bowman Richie Ashburn rookie, card number 214. It's in a PSA 8, which sold all the way back in 2005 for $9,135. I detailed Ashburn's career and cards back in episode 28. This sale seems to be an aberration, as a PSA 8.5 sold in 2021 for only $5,600, but it holds as the record nonetheless. I expected Ashburn to be higher on this list, but 8.5 is the highest grade available. No 9s exist, and no 10s exist. If a PSA 10 ever came to light, I would expect a multiple of 10x over recent 8 and 8.5 comps. Number 8 on the list is our only card from the 19th century, an 1895 N300 Mayo's Tobacco card of Ed Delahanty in a PSA 6, which sold in August of 2018 for $16,414.80. In a PSA 6, it is a pop 1 with none higher. Ed Delahanty is a Hall of Famer and was batting champion with the Phillies in 1899. The demand for cards this old is pretty low, which is good because there aren't many of them out there. If Gen Z ever gets a taste for the old stuff, this will head to the moon. Coming in at number 7 is a 1914 Cracker Jack card, number 37, of Grover Cleveland Alexander. This is a PSA 7 that sold back in November of 2022 for $27,069. In a 7, this is a pop of 3, with only one higher, a PSA 8 that has never come up for public sale. Pete Alexander, as he was known, was one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and I selected him for the starting rotation of my all-time Phillies team chronicled back in episode 33. His 1915 Cracker Jack card record is pretty high too, at nearly 10 grand. But the 1914 Cracker Jack cards are one standard deviation more rare because they could only be acquired through actually buying the Cracker Jack boxes. By 1915, you could mail order the full set of cards, bypassing the step where the cards printed on very thin paper were put in a box of oil and sugar. So finding the 1914 cards in high grade is next to impossible. Coming in at number 6 on the list is a 1933 Gaudi Chuck Klein card 128 in a PSA 9 that sold in May of 2022 for $33,585. In a 9, this card is a pop 4 with none higher. I expected Chuck Klein to be on this list somewhere. He's one of the greatest hitters of all time, after all. His 1941 play ball is another expensive one at $9,300, but this Gaudi blows that away. I detailed my own journey to owning a 33 Gaudi Chuck Klein back in episode 34. This one is mine. It's not a PSA 9, but I love it anyway. And it cost me only 0.1% of the all-time record sale for this card. Kicking off the top 5 highest-selling Phillies baseball cards of all time is the 1949 Bowman Robin Roberts rookie, card number 46, in a PSA 10, which sold in May of 2021 for $34,800. This card in a 10 is a pop of 1. This is it, the single greatest Robin Roberts card in existence. Robin Roberts hasn't had his own episode yet, but we'll get to him in Season 5 of Baseball Card Stories. What's interesting here is the delta between the 49 Ashburn rookie in an 8 and the Roberts in a 10. 4 times the price for the Roberts and 7 times the price of recent comps. Crazy stuff. It makes me want to see a Gem Mint 10 Ashburn rookie pop up even more. Number 4 on the countdown was by far the most surprising for me. A 1966 Topps Fergie Jenkins rookie card, card number 254, in a PSA 10 that sold back in July of 2021 for $37,200. In a 10, this card is a pop 7. Prices for this card have cooled a bit since 2021 highs, but it still sits at about $20,000. Fergie Jenkins is a Hall of Famer and mostly associated with the Cubs, where he spent the bulk of his career. Now, I wouldn't call Jenkins a Tier 1 Hall of Famer. He was a great pitcher for sure, but he didn't have the immediate fame or lasting legacy like Bob Gibson or Nolan Ryan, so I was pretty shocked to discover the sales record for this card. That's the power of low-pop vintage 10s. In third place for the highest-selling Phillies baseball card of all time is this 1963 Topps Rookie Stars card, number 553, featuring John Hernstein in a PSA 10, which sold back in May of 2021 for $63,000. Now, some of you already get the joke, but if you don't, let me explain. This sold for $63,000 because it is also the rookie card of Willie Stargell. John Hernstein just got sucked along for the journey. But it's a Phillies card through and through. I discussed Hernstein all the way back in episode 2, which was about rookie stars that failed to shine. Hernstein is also on a Rookie Stars card in 1964, shared with Dick Allen. That card in a PSA 10 has an all-time record sale of $4,800, which will go up by no small multiple when Allen finally gets into the Hall of Fame. This 1963 Topps card in a PSA 10 is just a pop 2. John Hernstein died back in 2017, so didn't get a chance to see his rookie cards break records. But I'd like to think he'd have enjoyed such attention to his otherwise forgettable baseball career. Runner-up on this list is a 1973 Topps rookie card of Michael Jack Schmidt in a PSA 10, which sold back in February of 2021 for $234,000. In a 10, this card is just a pop 6. This card is also the record holder for the highest price of any card from the decade of the 1970s. I detailed Schmidt's career and cards back in episode 3. He was my favorite player as a kid. I have 2 of his rookie cards, but neither are close to a Gem Mint 10. This is my Grail card, PSA 9s sell in the $5,000 range, which is a huge multiple less than a PSA 10. Someday, Schmitty. Someday. Before getting to the all-time highest-selling Phillies card, I just want to thank you for supporting the channel through the first 4 seasons. Give me a like if you do, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below with any feedback you have. Season 5 should begin with the opening of the baseball season, as there are many baseball card stories left to tell. So here it is, the highest-selling Phillies baseball card of all time, a 1909 T206 Sherry McGee error card. This is a famous card in baseball card land, and the first major error card in history. McGee's last name is misspelled with an IE instead of EE, which led to generations of collectors mispronouncing his name. Sherry McGee was born in Pennsylvania to Irish immigrant parents. McGee is a common Gaelic surname. From the same root we get McGee and McKee. The G is hard, G. But in America, English speakers often soften the G, following the rules of ecclesiastical Latin spoken in the Catholic Church up to 1962. And with the popularity of phrases like gee willikers of English origin, and the shortening of Jesus to G's to express frustration. Ah, geez, people keep mispronouncing McGee's name. Okay, phonetics lecture over. Sherry McGee, it is. With his name spelled correctly, high-grade examples sell in the $10,000 region. But only 50 cards with the error are known to exist, and this PSA 8 is a Pop 1 with none higher. It sold back in November of 2018 for $660,000. Given the surge in prices during and after the pandemic, I suspect that if this card came up for auction again, it would likely crack the $1 million mark. Big money for any team. Thanks for watching. Season 5 has a lot in store. And I'll see you then on Baseball Card Stories, Legends, and Legends.